Again, one of the themes in this course is that everything in philosophy is controversial. The issues lead to complexities and different takes in their own right that cause controversies over what the right answers are, and ethical issues are no exception. But part of the reason why ethical issues are as controversial as they are is historical. And in an earlier unit in this course, I made mention of the fact that our civilization, what we call modern Western civilization, although many of the values and institutions of modern Western civilization are now global values, but nonetheless, Western civilization is a unique civilization in not being a monoculture. Most of the other cultures and great civilizations historically have been what I'm calling a monoculture. That is to say, philosophically, they are, all of the members of that culture are more or less on the same page on the big philosophical issues about what the right religion is, what the right family structure issues are, what the right politics and economic issues are, and so forth. This is not true of modern Western civilization, and the reason for that is that it is a hybrid civilization. It harkens back to two earlier civilizations that had very different philosophical approaches, different answers to the major questions of the universe, life, and our place in the universe. And here I'm referring back to Greco-Roman civilization and the Judeo-Christian tradition. The influence of the Greco-Roman civilizations on our way of life in the modern world is, of course, incalculable. And the same can be said of the Judeo-Christian tradition. Both of those civilizations had power in their own right, influencing many generations and many millions of people. And what we have done self-consciously in the early part of the modern world is to try to integrate the values from those two different civilizations. But because they are two very different traditions and have in many cases contradictory answers to the important philosophical questions, it's not a happy marriage. Most people argue that it should necessarily end in a divorce. Others are still hopeful that various kinds of things can be patched up along the way. But one of the places where those conflicts are most noted certainly is in ethical traditions. The ethical traditions that come out of the Greek and Roman tradition are much more naturalistic, much more pursuit of happiness based. The ethical traditions that come out of the Judeo-Christian tradition are much more deontological, much more emphasizing sacrifice and renunciation. And those two broadly different approaches lead to many, many differences on all of the follow-up ethical questions that one can possibly imagine.